Welcome back. Back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you having a good night. Let's get straight to it. Now that's trippy. They ran all kind of filters and the body was still there walking. It didn't seem like no angel.
Aquí se ve mejor. Fíjate. Ajá. Se fue. Para que se veamos cuando... para que vean de que no... Si alguien puede ver que se va, no se va. Ahí le entramos acá. Ahí se ve como una calavera. Aparece, ajá. Y desapareció. Desapareció.
Yo, she needs to drop a house too on TikTok for real. A DIY. She disappeared like a fart in the wind. Look like one of them beings from the movie The Descent. It looked like a little gray, I can't front, but it could have been someone wearing a suit. I don't know about this one.
Are caves portals? Among many fascinating cave mysteries you'll encounter, you'll find this repeated theme and pattern of caves being portals. From the Bible and many other sources that we're about to cover, plus this really fascinating Moses-Elijah time nexus, possible time travel mystery we'll close with later. From Muhammad receiving the word from Gabriel inside of a cave, where he would get the information he would write the Quran from, to Steve Jobs, who stayed in a cave, trained with some guru, had some visions inside of a cave, and came back with all this technology that he would then use to start the iPhone with. Fascinating story. Kind of implies meeting with a spirit being. In Hindu, a cave is the most holy site. The Ellora Caves, shrine and temple, is where Shiva revealed secrets.
Innumerable secret passageways, caverns, corridors, and labyrinths. And it was said that these caves went to an underground super cave where there were energy machines and other ancient devices from the world before.
And this place looks just like the gates of hell, which is a cave inside of Mount Hermon. That whole area, Mount Hermon in Israel, is where Enoch says the fallen angels descended. There's also a UN base there with lots of protection, probably portals and other weird stuff. In Greek mythology, Zeus was born in a cave. Da Vinci, one of the greatest geniuses, has really fascinating cave mysteries where he disappeared in a cave for 2 years. Missing years of time, coming back with all sorts of inventions and fascinating ideas, and genius level stuff that other people couldn't come with. This whole side rabbit trail of geniuses and where that word genius comes from kind of comes from jinn and the implication of extraterrestrial or spiritual, not of this world intelligence guiding them. Super side rabbit hole about childhood testing for geniuses, IQ testing, certain programs like GATE and other MK Ultra rabbit holes that I might get into. What are they trying to filter out of the public at an early age? Also, with people like Da Vinci disappearing in caves and coming back with technology inventions, are they part of this technology rollout program that has to do with reset patterns and when technology is allowed to be released back into the public again? Seemingly for the first time, though. In Vietnam, the Son Dong Cave, plenty local sightings of reptilian beings that come out of the cave and resemble form of seraphim. Also, fallen seraphim, who wouldn't say they're fallen, live underground in inner earth according to Kabbalistic traditions. And U.S. soldiers in Vietnam said they saw the same thing. Quote, upright lizards in caves. Are they all seeing the same thing? Plug to the Theory of Everything playlist, an ancient dragon thread that you'll see all throughout the ancient world. Moving into Peru, where they also have the Amaru serpent deities, pattern continued, there's this doorway of the Amaru Meru, this door right into the cave. Shamans with special keys that open this door, only they have the access. Probably with a special artifact, or a certain tone or utterance or DNA activation, or combination of the above. Legends of Shambhala, things in the Himalayan mountains, or things inside of Mount Shasta, where there's plenty of legends of people literally coming through portals and walking right into a wall and disappearing into the cave. They say they see tall blonde beings there, which is the same thing the Mexican Tara Amaru say they see. Tall blondes that come through doorways, in caves. Seems like caves are portals to me.
They definitely believe that caves are a conduit to communicating with non-human entities.
It's almost as though they're opening a doorway to a spiritual consciousness in which they're able to communicate with these divine beings and hopefully become divine themselves.
Also, the ant people and Hopi legends of where they came from, and other Native Americans that say their origin is coming up from cave systems from out of the earth to the earth, and that was their origin. Caveman, huh? New paradigm for that phrase, maybe. Especially seeing how the ancients were completely wise, the opposite of what we've been taught. Speaking of evolution, how about the idea of intelligent dinosaurs evolving? Why were humans the only ones to evolve? Harvard speculates on this in a recent article that I'll come back to in a second, but the idea of intelligent dinosaurs evolving into sentient reptilians. Basically, they're just mixing words. Basically, all of this stuff with the cave portal theory kind of ties in everything from the inner earth theory to missing 411, even things like DUMBs and military installations and other UAPs that just disappear into cave systems or underground somewhere. Also, did angels build Darren Kuyu for chosen people to survive reset cataclysmic pattern-like events? Was this the same angelic technology that built the Ellora caves, tunnel systems, and temples in India? Might be. Also, this ice cave, if you look at it, really looks like you're kind of looking at the sky. Firmament tie-in. Enclosed caves are mysterious in general. You can't just walk in any cave. There's lots of dangers, things you can and can't smell. That could be harmful to breathe. Things like whether the water is bubbling or not or moving when you walk in. Also, speaking of the nose and scent, the olfactory system seems completely spiritual and linked to discernment. Some accounts of Jesus' birth have the manger as actually a cave, and we know his death was buried in a cave. Plus, there was angels there at that cave, the portal of resurrection power. What are caves? What are mountains? What are volcanoes? All worth a second look, especially considering that Harvard article I mentioned speculates that the moon might actually be a base, an observation base. Probably the Watchers because, well, they watch. If you study the Bible, you find a really fascinating thread. Things with Elijah and Moses' life parallel each other in a lot of ways, aside from each doing a 40-day fast, and possibly being the two witnesses, which I might come back to later. You'll see each of them have incidents in caves. Aside from Elijah living in a cave, they each have an incident where they see the Lord in a cave, tucked into the cleft of it. I'm wondering if both of these incidents are a time nexus that actually tie into the Transfiguration, where you see there's a time nexus where Jesus sees Elijah and Jesus sees Moses, and Peter even sees them and offers to build a tabernacle for them. Funny, he knows exactly who they are too, even though he's obviously never seen them in real life. Funny how the spirit realm works. I'm wondering at the time Elijah lived and the time that Moses lived, when they independently had the cave experiences, if they were all linked together on some sort of common ground, and that's what happened at the Transfiguration, where they all met together, when Jesus was seeing the law and the prophets. Time travel mysteries for another day. Don't get lost in any caves. See you right back here. Same Batcave time. Same Savage Truth channel.
Shout out to Savage Truth With a fascinating video right there. I'm not a fan of caves at all. Like he said, there's hidden dangers in them things. Although, what's fascinating is the whole hollow earth theory, the underground cave system itself. Could you imagine if a cave was a portal or a doorway?
Sir, I'm gonna run him over. We don't know him. He on my side now. He on my side. Son, turn the fuck around. How you roll window down? How you roll here, son? My window down. Roll my window down. Roll my window down. I don't give a fuck about this nigga. Oh, Brody. We have to go. We're here. Hey, son. Oh, no, he on your side. No, son. Where you at? So he right there running down the street naked, bro. No, I don't know. Get the light on my face. Hey, son. I don't see him. He's right there. Son, go straight. Look, right there. Where? Right there. Go straight. Go in the middle of the street. What? No, get it. Wait.
Yo, you know they with the homies when they be like, bruh, chill. How fast was that thing running? Like, boy, like a humanoid for real. With the glowing eyes.
They've been hiding this from you. During the 1900s, bells around the world were all collected and destroyed. Governments claimed it was due to the metal shortage during the world wars. However, it is believed that there is a much more sinister motive. Bells are powerful tools. They are not just signals that another hour has passed. These bells clear negative energy, raise vibrations, and connect us with higher realms. Fully aware of this, they were destroyed to suppress human awakening and maintain control over our collective consciousness. By eliminating these powerful instruments, society is forced to a lower vibrational state, and a further disconnect is made between us and the realms above. But it gets even deeper. In 1953, the standard frequency of music was intentionally adjusted from 432 Hz to 440 Hz. The 440 Hz frequency is considered disharmonious and disruptive to our energy fields, while the 432 Hz frequency is believed to align with the Earth's natural resonance, promoting healing and awakening. Without the sound of bells and the constant exposure to modern music, society is being kept at a lower vibrational state, resulting in our connection to the divine being weakened.
What you're seeing here is water memory. You can do this experiment yourself just by showing an image to water for around 30 seconds and then freezing the water, and you will see a reflection of the image you showed it. This proves that water holds memory, it has consciousness. This is because water can change its structure depending on the vibrations it comes into contact with. This is where things start to get a bit crazy with words. Placing the word schizophrenia in water and then freezing it shows this image of a double-faced person. This proves that water is intelligent and is reacting to vibrations of the words. Now that you understand this concept, what do you think happens when you are drinking Monster Energy, or with cans which imprinted the word of death? You are drinking crystallized water with the imprinted vibration of death. You are filling 70% of your body, which is water, with the vibration of death. Tap water is mixed with sewage and all sorts of toxins inside of these facilities. Although they may remove some of the toxins from the water, the crystallized vibration of this water is still very bad. The ancients didn't just build beautiful water fountains for no reason. They had a purpose of moving the water so that it restructures the vibration of the water. Water is basically the internet of the earth. It has consciousness and intelligence. This is why you should never place your car keys or your phone next to your water. The energy codes in my bio will allow you to place codes underneath water and then drink it.
Shout out to Revival of Wisdom. Go check out his bio to get those codes. I guess it makes sense with holy water.
This is a video that is apparently real footage. Two friends were trying to enter an old asylum that has been abandoned for years. The place is closed, but they look from the outside trying to find out how to enter. They finally managed to find an entrance. Since they were outside, apparently they had already captured something. There is something there, and it is not friendly.
במיטה שלה בדבר. Wenn es hochgeht, dann durchs Fenster. Da oben. Haben wir ein Seil dabei. Ja, die Tür steht auf. Da. Aber das soll ich lieber abhauen. Ich habe komisches Gefühl die ganze Zeit.
Vielleicht nächstes Mal wieder.
Ja, Mann, lass es gehen. Mann. Trau dich. Es ist dunkel, ich sehe nichts.
Sicher.
Ich sehe nichts, es ist dunkel. Was ist das?
Au milieu de nulle part. On regarde les étoiles. C'est trop beau. On n'est pas bien là. On n'est pas bien là. Ah. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Oh putain! C'est quoi ce bordel?
That's crazy if that's the walk home. Barefoot, where did he go? Look like they sobered up quickly.
So this woman hates this other woman, and she's about to try to ruin her life by planting illegal substances in her car. So the story actually starts with this woman, Kelly. And Kelly is a volunteer at the local elementary school. She's PTA president, and everyone likes her. But one day, after school, she's at the school, she's volunteering, watching the kids, and one of the kids, this kid, Luke, he's late when lining up with the other students. And he accidentally ends up getting locked out of the school. And Luke gets upset, and he starts crying, and he's locked out for around 5 to 8 minutes before eventually someone notices and they let him in. But then, this woman shows up, Jill Easter. And Jill Easter is Luke's mom, and she is pissed that Luke accidentally got locked outside. So she goes up to Kelly and she lets her have it. She's screaming and she's yelling and calling her negligent. How could you leave my child locked outside for 5 whole minutes? So Kelly apologizes to Jill Easter and she tells her that Luke was locked out because he didn't line up fast enough and that he was probably slow in getting to the door. And Jill Easter hears this and she thinks Kelly is calling her son mentally slow. So Jill Easter just loses it. She can't let Kelly get away with this. And that is when she starts plotting her revenge. So the next day, Jill Easter shows up to the school to talk to the principal, and she explains what had happened the day before, and she demands that they fire Kelly from her volunteer job. So the school admins investigate, and they see that Kelly did nothing wrong, so they don't fire her. And of course, this just pisses Jill Easter off even more. So she goes and prints flyers that warn people about what a horrible person Kelly is and that she should be fired. And then she stands out in front of the school and passes them out to parents. But still, the school doesn't fire Kelly. Then Jill Easter goes and complains to the superintendent, and Kelly still doesn't get fired. Then Jill Easter goes and complains to one of the state boards of California, and Kelly still still doesn't get fired. And Jill Easter, she isn't going to let this slide. She's had enough. She is going to get her revenge one way or another. So she goes and files a police report, including a restraining order, claiming that Kelly is harassing her son and stalking her, and that somehow Kelly tried to unalive her. And since Jill Easter has no proof of any of this, because she's making it all up, the restraining order is ultimately denied. Oh, but she's not done. She then goes and gets her husband, this guy, Kent Easter, who is a high-powered attorney. She gets him to file a civil lawsuit against Kelly. And this lawsuit claims that because Kelly left her son locked outside for 5 minutes, he had been the victim of false imprisonment and intentional infliction of emotional distress. And of course, that lawsuit, it goes nowhere. But understandably, all of this conflict is just stressing Kelly out. And she doesn't know what she's gonna do. But then, suddenly, bam, Jill Easter goes silent. No more drama, no more lawsuits, nothing. And months go by, and Kelly has heard nothing more from the Easters. And it seems like all of this harassment has finally stopped. Until almost a year has passed since Luke got locked outside the school for 5 minutes. And then one night, a man makes a phone call to police. And he tells them that he saw Kelly driving dangerously.
I was calling because my daughter's a student at Plaza Vista Elementary School. And I'm concerned one of the parent volunteers there may be using drugs.
And this man also tells them that he saw Kelly driving to the school while on drugs. So police, they go to the school to investigate because that's where she is. She's there volunteering. And they pull Kelly aside and they tell her about the report they got. And they ask her if they can search her car. And Kelly's like, sure, I have nothing to hide. So police go and they open up her car and they search. And guess what they find? A whole lot of drugs. And this shocks everyone. And of course the police, they start to grill Kelly. They get her to do a curbside sobriety test, you know, like where they make you walk the straight line and stuff. And by the way, all this isn't happening in private. No. This is all happening right in the school parking lot, in front of all the students and parents and teachers who are all watching. And poor Kelly is horrified, like her job is on the line. Well, luckily, Kelly passes the sobriety test because she's sober. And police, they start to believe maybe Kelly isn't high. Maybe someone planted those drugs in her car. So detectives, they get on it and they start investigating who made that call to police. And they track that call to this nearby hotel. And there they check surveillance footage and that's where they see Kent Easter on the screen walking into the hotel. And this is just right before that phone call to police was made. So then detectives get a hold of their phone tracking records and they see that Kent Easter's phone was near Kelly's apartment complex the night before a bunch of drugs just randomly appeared in Kelly's car. Meaning he found out where she lives, snuck over to her apartment complex in the middle of the night, planted drugs in her car, and called the police on her the next day to make it so that she got busted in front of the whole school, hoping to get her fired. But here's where the story gets really crazy. After all this, detectives, they start surveilling the Easters. And then one day, they see a strange man leaving the Easters' home. This man, Gomez. So they pull Gomez over and they question him. And it turns out he's a firefighter who had been smashing with Jill Easter. They were having an affair behind Kent Easter's back. So detectives ask Gomez to wear a wire and then meet up with Jill. And surprisingly, Gomez cooperates and he agrees to do this. So then he meets up with her at a local park, and Gomez doesn't end up getting much information out of her, but he does end up telling her that they should stop seeing each other until the heat on her dies down. And Jill Easter doesn't like this idea one bit, and she flips out and she starts yelling at him and screaming, and she breaks up with him. And then after that, she randomly starts showing up to his home where his wife is, and she starts confronting his wife, telling her all about the affair that they've been having for the last 2 years. She prints out photos that Gomez had sent to her, and she leaves them in his mailbox for his wife to find. She also sends emails to his wife's work, trying to give the wife's co-workers all the details about her and Gomez's affair. And those emails sometimes include intimate photos that she and Gomez had taken. It's a whole mess. But Jill Easter wants as many people as possible to know that Gomez has been cheating on his wife and that he's a bad person. She's basically doing everything she can to ruin his reputation. And I'm starting to see a pattern here. Anyway, eventually police arrest Jill Easter and Kent Easter for conspiring to plant drugs in Kelly's car, and here's her mugshot, and here's his. And Jill Easter pleads guilty, and she's sentenced to 120 days in jail, and she's disbarred from ever practicing law again. Did I forget to mention she's a lawyer? Well, not anymore. She got disbarred. While Kent Easter gets sentenced to 180 days in jail, and his legal license is suspended. And ultimately, the Easters end up getting a divorce. Womp womp. Couldn't have happened to a nicer couple. Meanwhile, Kelly sues them in civil court, and she's awarded $5.7 million as compensation. I gotta say, $5.7 million for going through this hell, that sounds like it was worth it. Get that money, girl. Good for her. Shout out to Irvine, California.
Shout outs to Irvine, California. 5.7 million for going through hell. Nice payoff. Yeah, Jill, man, she was something, man. That ending definitely caught me off guard. I can only imagine how many victims she's had in the past.
Para, voz! Cadu. Que porra é essa, Cadu? Cadu, ela tomou remédio. Cadu, ela tomou remédio. Tomou, cara. Tem certeza? Não é possível. Ela não tomou. Ela não tomou. Olha como é que ela tá, irmão. Vai lá falar com a tua avó. Cadu, a avó é tu. Resolve isso, Cadu. Dá um jeito nisso. Vai, fala com ela. É a avó dele que se foda. A gente não tem culpa. Boa, para com isso, boa. Cadu, sai daí! Cadu! Cadu! Vai lá falar com ela, Cadu! Cadu, fala com ela! Fala com ela! Fala com ela! Fala com ela! Ela não vai ficar assim, ela vai ficar... Controla ela, Cadu, pelo amor de Deus! Pelo amor de Deus, é sério!
Alright, Mom, we're gonna have to turn on his light, at least in the living room or something. Like they better get that holy water.
Algo mal me está buscando.
Satan is Saturn. 666, the mark of the beast. On the north pole of Saturn, you have the cube. At a pole of sides is a 6-pointed star, 6 triangles and 6 sides, 666. The human body is made out of carbon, which is 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. Your body is the beast. You are not your body. The Bible even says, for it is the number of a man, and that number is 666. You are the Christ, the intelligence within the physical body. The Bible says, Satan, who is the god of this world, has blinded the minds of those who don't believe. The god of this physical world is time. We live in a soul system, not a solar system. We started in the stars, you see the word? We hit Saturn first and then incarnated through the 7 planets, which are the 7 days of creation, the 7 chakras, and then entered the heart, which rearranged means earth. Satan blinds the mind. We forget who we are, and this is shown within the symbol. All of the planet symbols are made out of the sun, moon, and earth. Saturn's symbol is the earth cross and the moon crescent. The sun is the soul, the moon is the mind, the earth is the physical body. The Saturn symbol is showing you matter over the moon, matter over mind, when it should be mind over matter. It's also where the number 5 came from. This is why we have 5 senses, the 5 senses of the physical world. Saturn is basically the computer running this simulation of this time matrix. You are in the game cube of Saturn. Everything in this physical world has 6 sides, up, down, back, forward, left, and right. Jesus' cross is an unfolded cube. Your consciousness died when it came into a physical form.
More revelation gems, a cool pattern in the trumpets, a really easy way to understand the book, and a cool code in understanding Yahweh, how what he did on the days of creation ties into things in the trumpets and the bowls. The key to understanding the entire book of Revelation is the scroll. Referenced in chapter 5, verse 4, there's a mysterious scroll that there's only one person worthy to open. Once this scroll starts being popped open, which is held down by 7 seals, which you can imagine unrolling like a spiral helix Walter Russell DNA table, as one series of event unrolls and leads to the next, from the seals to the trumpets to the bowls. 3 sets of 7, all based on the pattern of creation, with a final capstone at the end making it 22 to resemble the completion of the Hebrew alphabet, Aleph to Tav, which Psalm 19 is also laid out in the same way, Aleph to Tav, which there's a cool tie-in, Yeshua's last song plug, on my page. Also interesting in the language of unrolling the scroll is how the firmament is described to unroll like a scroll and the end times in the book of Revelation. Quick pattern in the trumpets. All the trumpets are based on thirds, which we'll come back to in a second. There's a really cool pattern in code. If you look at the 4th day of creation, what God made, the sun, the moon, and the stars, then if you also look at the 4th trumpet and even the 4th bowl, you'll see how those 2 judgments also have to do with what he did on the 4th day of creation. They both involve the sun, moon, and stars and something happening. Does this pattern reflect anywhere else? It does, but only once, on the number 6. On the 6th day of creation, God made mankind, and you'll see on the 6th trumpet and the 6th bowl how both of those judgments have to do with mankind. So why is it only those 2 that match this pattern? Many layers of code, especially the closer you get to the Holy Spirit. But it's possible that they both reflect each other. The story of the sun, moon, and stars reflect the story of mankind. This is even referenced in Genesis in the Bible through Jacob's dream, other places in the Word, and in the story of the Mazzaroth in general, which you can also find on my page, Esoteric Secrets playlist. As you can see in this chart of the trumpets which angels blow, which are really shofars, by the way, they all have to do with a third, except for the 5th one. Why? Well, for one, the 3rd is also a reference to the fallen angels. A third of the stars were swept out of the sky by the tail of the dragon, which is ironic because this 1/3 percentage, 33.3, 33-degree Mason, the remainder of that left would be 0.666, 666, the mark of the beast. Funny how all of these numbers tie in. So why not the 3rd on trumpet 5? Well, I'm speculating, is it because a whole third of these fallen angels are released? Look at what happens on the 5th trumpet. It's the bottomless pit army being released, which I've covered on my page before. And what do they do as soon as they're released? They torment humanity. Thanks for freeing us, bro. This is immediately followed by 4 fallen angels being released from underneath the Euphrates River with a 200 million man army with lion-headed horsemen, with serpent tails with faces that strike. Sounds like a very specific type of dragon. One more quick cool gem, then I'm out. On the 6th trumpet, you'll see a third of humanity perish. Before, on the 4th seal, you'll notice 25% have perished. So if you do the math, that's about 58%, which is over half, about 4 billion, just between those 2 judgments alone. So with the other 42% or so left, most of them don't repent. They're still worshiping demons and idols, sorcery, sexual immorality, murders, stealing. Sounds like a super witchcraft, Mad Max, Book of Eli type of environment. Or some places that survive might be some sort of sophisticated breakaway civilizations, like places in Dubai, Neom, or a sophisticated Sodom and Gomorrah like Aldous Huxley New World, Brave New World type of environment. Or elite underground bunkers, which they'll definitely be begging on them to collapse later. Anyway, eternal precepts are never in need of change, unlike culture that always swears at the precipice of intelligence, an intellect that is always changing. Truth never changes, and the truth will set you free. See you next time.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you haven't already, please take a second
just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell,
just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So what we gonna do, y'all? That's right. Run these numbers up. Thanks again. Until next time.